Welcome to Planning a Community Meeting. This two-part videocast focuses on 5 topics for upfront planning before a community meeting. This is Part 1, and it covers identifying the purpose for your meeting and creating an agenda. Part 2 looks at who to invite, where and when to hold the meeting, and how to publicize it. While these videos focus on community meetings, you can apply the concept to other meetings as well. Let's start with what community meetings are and when you might use them in your work. First of all, there's no universal format for community meetings. They can look different depending on your community and the task at hand. When we talk about a community meeting, we are referring to a purposeful gathering of people who have a common interest, objective, or problem to solve. Community meetings are especially important for VISTA members involved in community engagement activities. Meetings are an important way to engage a lot of community members to determine their needs and to engage them in accomplishing the goals they envision. A community meeting is visible, accountable to the community, and can be helpful in building trusting relationships that are essential in community-based solutions. Any meeting requires planning time, and due to the high stakes of a community meeting and the time needed to promote it, you'll want to get started at least 1 to 2 months before your meeting date. No one wants to have a meeting unless it is necessary. So how do you know if you need to hold a community meeting? First, if you need input from a number of stakeholders who represent a range of opinions or backgrounds, you've met the first requirement. A diverse, representative group can often identify issues and solutions more fully than a single organization or individual can. Do community members need a real-time, in-person chance to engage in conversation about a topic or to have a chance to ask questions? Will a presentation of the sides of an issue provide them with a broader view that they wouldn't otherwise have? If so, a meeting can be useful. And finally, sometimes an issue is so important that it needs to become known to the community. An in-person meeting can raise visibility for an issue or provide a platform for sharing important information with members of the community who might not tap into other sources. It's also a chance for community members to get to know you and your organization, to see what role you play, and develop trust in your work. Once you know you need a community meeting, the next step is to be clear about why you are having it and what you want to accomplish. Begin by identifying the purpose of the meeting, the overall goal. For example, the purpose could be to bring people together to generate ideas about new programs for refugees in the community. Drilling down a bit more, determine your desired outcomes, what you want to accomplish as a result of the meeting. Be specific about the accomplishments that will result from each individual agenda item. Another way to approach this is to ask what tangible products you want to have after the meeting. Is there something you want people to have in their hands when they walk out, or specific action steps you want participants to commit to? Secondly, what new shared knowledge will the participants have as a result of this meeting? And finally, what shift in perceptions are you aiming for? You could have 1, 2, or all 3 of these. The point is to identify specific accomplishments you want when the meeting is over. Once you know what you want to accomplish, you'll need a plan to make it happen, and that plan takes the form of an agenda. A good agenda contains information that helps people know what will take place so they can be prepared to participate. An agenda may include specific topics for discussion and indicate the process you'll use. It is safe to say that some standard things take place at the beginning and end of a meeting, because most meetings need an introduction, and after the main activities, participants will want some closure. At the beginning, allow time to set both the tone and the stage. Welcome your attendees, facilitate introductions, and state the purpose of the meeting and what you're there to accomplish. Additionally, you'll want to share what role you hope participants will play. At the end of the meeting, the closing can be relatively brief, but you'll want to build in time to summarize what took place and highlight the main points you want them to leave with. Identify what will happen next, so participants will know how their input will be used. If another meeting is planned, mention that. Thank attendees for their participation and provide a way for them to give additional input, say through a survey or by email. Now that we've seen the standard parts of an agenda, let's look at the middle part that can vary by type of meeting. In this video, we look at 3 types of meetings you might use in a community setting. The first is a broadcast meeting, where your intention is to share information with a group or make an announcement. An example would be an information session to explain healthcare options that are now available throughout the county. A second type of meeting focuses on idea generation, with the goal of creating a lot of ideas from a broad segment of the community. An example here would be a session to get ideas for redeveloping a local park. A third type of meeting is information gathering, and its main purpose is to discover existing facts and perspectives on a particular topic from community residents. This meeting type explores their experiences, needs, and wants, or it uncovers gaps in services. It sheds light on what other people's actual experiences are, things not necessarily reflected in community data or official measures. Let's take a look at what the middle might look like in these 3 types of meetings. In a broadcast meeting, the main activity is presenting key information to the group. You may want to use a variety of modes to present information, say an oral presentation that uses visual aids projected on a screen, and perhaps handouts. Or maybe guest speakers who can relate their personal experiences to the group. Next, build in time for participants to ask questions and get clarification. Expect to get questions that you aren't able to answer on the spot, so come prepared to share how you will follow up in these cases. An idea generation meeting, which aims to gather a wide variety of ideas, starts with a central challenge or question for the group. It then moves into a process where participants contribute ideas in a structured way, such as a brainstorming activity. To make sure you capture the intended meaning of each contribution, allow time to clarify ideas. You may also want time on the agenda for participants to group similar ideas, remove duplicates, and develop categories to describe them. Build in time to explain what you will do with the ideas so participants know their time has been well spent. Finally, a meeting for gathering input is meant to uncover existing facts and perspectives to help you understand what life is like in the community. Start with a question you want people to answer. The responses you get depend on the question you ask, so spend time figuring out a few good questions that are most likely to uncover the answers you seek. Allow time to gather responses. The complexity of the information you want and the size of the group will influence how you go about this. Focus on processes that are inclusive and provide a way for different ages, non-native English speakers, and various affinity groups to participate. Get creative in how you have people contribute, such as using small groups and assigning a facilitator to capture their thoughts. Or use surveys translated into different languages, or technology to gather a wide variety of perspectives. Before moving to the closing, take time to make sure you've captured participants' input correctly. You can do that by reading back the notes that were taken and asking for any clarification or missing information. As we've just seen, the middle part of a meeting can vary widely from one meeting to another, and it's where the desired outcomes will be accomplished. Your agenda design should reflect those outcomes, so be sure to build it with your outcomes in mind. Each activity on an agenda should have an amount of time allocated to it, and often this is simply an educated guess about how long each part of the process will take. Lean on the side of allowing more time for activities so you don't overpack the agenda. This, of course, also needs to be weighed against how challenging or easy it is to get the group together for an additional meeting to finish what you started. If it would be difficult to get everyone together again, consider extending the meeting a reasonable amount, like 30 more minutes, trimming some activities, or coming up with alternate ways to complete some tasks outside of the meeting. Thank you for watching Part 1 of this video cast. In Part 2, you'll learn who to invite, how to pick a location and time, and how to publicize your meeting. Thanks for watching.